I don't do this often, but I felt tonight it was needed and necessary because of the amount of questions that I received today and yesterday regarding what is a postgraduate year, when should we take advantage of a postgraduate year, what age should my son reclassify, and why. So, good evening. My name is Walter Beede. Baseball Lifer 11 here on Twitter, Baseball Lifer over on YouTube. Anytime you have a question similar to these, please feel free to drop them in the comments section below. You can feel free to direct message me or simply ask a question, on a tweet when I put it out there. Let's talk about reclassification. This really should only be considered, and I happen to have some familiarity with this because my youngest son graduated high school at 17. He had a late May birthday. His whole graduating class was somewhere around 18 and in some cases 19 years of age. When he entered college, he was playing against 21 and 22-year-olds as a recently turned 18-year-old. So let's start with the first question and the first topic of postgraduate year. It's not anything to do with reclassifying. I want to make sure that we explain the difference between reclassification and postgraduate year. A postgraduate year is exactly what it says. At the completion of a senior year in high school, a postgraduate essentially has the ability for physical and academic maturation to not only repeat his 12th grade year, but in many cases be able to take classes and courses that are going to go towards college credits. Postgraduate programs have been mainly throughout the East Coast as well as New England, and they've been very prevalent with sports such as basketball, hockey, football, and probably over the last 4 to 5 years has really intensified with regard to high school baseball. It's looked on very favorably in the current climate of college coaches. Why? Because they're getting a student athlete that is 1 year more physical mature and obviously academic structure, routine, and disciplines. So the academic maturation will help them be a better college student. So postgraduate has become a business now because postgraduate academies that are popping up in Texas and Florida, Tennessee, all throughout the country, their business model is very similar to an IMG, where they're heavy on the baseball instruction and light on the academics. Whereas in New England or throughout the Northeast, there are several highly desirable academic orientated as well as strong athletic based postgraduate schools, most notably schools such as Phillips Andover, Phillips Exeter, the Winchendon School, the Salisbury School, Loomis Chaffee, several schools of that caliber. You want to look into those because those schools carry significant weight with regard to curriculum. And when college application process begins, and you have your name associated with the Phillips Andover, Phillips Exeter, Worcester Academy, the Winchendon School, etc., that tends to carry some weight within the admissions departments at several of the higher level academic universities from across the country. So it's a tremendous opportunity. I have had several boys when I have been consulting with the families from Louisiana, from Texas, from Florida, from Maryland, obviously throughout New England, that have taken advantage of this and gone on to schools such as Stanford, Wake Forest, Northeastern University, Vanderbilt, Tulane. And so this is the type of academic and athletic combination that really carries some clout. So a postgraduate year is really much different than reclassification. The one advantage that a postgraduate year offers for student athletes and their families is the ability to finish up at their local high school with their friends or their classmates for the last 11 to 12 years. And then you can go on and do a postgraduate year. In New England, lacrosse and baseball have become, over recent years, really significant increases in the number of student athletes that are looking to do a postgraduate year. I strongly encourage you to use Google or any search engine that you like. Go out and Google postgraduate schools, and don't just do it for the purpose of an athletic venture. Don't do it specifically for baseball. Do it to be able to give your student athlete a sense of what it takes 1 year ahead of having to be a college student. It's a really good ramp up opportunity for those students that are really want to make sure that when their feet hit campus, that they're not only physically prepared, but they're academically prepared as well. The next segment of the question has to do with reclassification. And this is something that I personally feel very strongly about. And I never think that reclassification should be something strictly about athletics. Now, I know in football and other sports, hockey, this is done at early ages prior to the seventh grade in order to give some increased opportunities as far as physicality is concerned by starting school late or holding a student back. That can have some negative side effects, but there are plenty of opportunities that when your student athlete, let's say they're younger for their grade, let's say they're a late bloomer, physically or athletically. And this is something that has a tremendous importance for your particular student athlete. But by all means, when it comes to that type of situation, reclassifying can be a good idea. The biggest part of this dynamic with regard to reclassification, you really want to have a good understanding of who the student is in total, meaning their personality, their peers, their friends, their ability, their learning abilities. You certainly don't want to hold somebody back if academically they're successful and they're working up to their capabilities. But in some cases, reclassifications, especially after a freshman or sophomore year in high school, here in New England, we have a lot of schools. I just mentioned ISL schools. These schools don't really do postgraduate years, but they do allow for reclassification. So if a young man completes his freshman year or even his sophomore year in high school and then says, this is really important to me, I really want to focus my attention or my energies to becoming a better football player or basketball player, or obviously baseball player, that extra year of maturation and that ability to assimilate into a school with more than just 1 year that the postgraduate year allows, then absolutely doing a reclassification. Had a young man from Belmont High School here in Massachusetts, completed his junior year at Belmont High School, repeated his junior year at a school, Lawrence Academy, which is part of that ISL that I alluded to, and then went on and is currently a member at Stanford University and participates within that program. So it's really an individual case-by-case basis. There's reclassification, and then there's the post-grad year. Both serve a specific purpose, and I'm happy to explain in further details to individuals that reach back out to me. And if you have further questions on this topic, again, leave the comments in the comments section. Send me a note via direct message here on Twitter, and I'll make sure that I get those answers out to you. We're going to talk about a few things later on this week. A couple of them are going to be dealing with a lot of the fall sports and a lot of parents looking for information with regard to the college recruiting process. When does it start? When should it start? We're going to get a lot of those questions answered specifically in one by one, just so that I can make sure that we're really focused in on the individual question and not trying to make it too broad of a topic. I appreciate you joining me tonight. This was kind of impromptu. I just wanted to get to it fairly quickly. I also want to make a note to all of my subscribers and friends within the country of Canada. We are going to talk Canadian baseball student athletes and college recruiting within the U.S. That's a topic we're going to cover this week as well. So I want to thank you for joining me here tonight. Again, I want you to subscribe if you like the content that I've been putting out. Please feel free to submit any questions. And I look forward to speaking with you all again at a very soon time point. Thank you.